Good morning, one and all, and welcome to the video. My name is Somil Shah. I work as a software engineer. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about data classes in Python. Well, if you do not know anything about data class, don't worry. This video is just for that. All right. So let's dive into the code a little bit. I have a really small slides for you, so hopefully we can go through some of the technical definitions, and then we'll go right into programming. So data classes are available in Python 3.7 and above. You can use data classes as a data container, but not only data classes also write boilerplate code for you and simply the process of creating classes because it comes with some methods implemented for free. Let's dive in. For example, I just gonna read the second point and then promise I'm gonna go to the code. By default, data classes come with init, wrapper, equal, methods implemented for you, so you do not have to write that. Saumil, what do you mean by that? Okay. So let's write a class. So say you have you want to create a data object which is a person class, right? So I'm gonna take, as I said, I'm gonna try my best to keep things very simple. So as you know, this class takes name and age, right? So you will write a constructor now. Okay, self.age is equal to age. Now I'll show you some of the problem with these things. So for example, let's say you want to create an object. That's pretty easy. You can you write a constructor and then we pass in the methods, right? A good practice, usually remember, it's also to provide static type ins. For example, this is a type string. This is also a type integer. It's just a good practice while doing in Python. So if I had to do, for example, if I had to print the object, and you would certainly show you an address. So let me show you that. So it shows something like this. Well, yeah, now you're responsible for writing a dunder star method. So you'll say, okay, but so let's do person, let's do this. Let's say this has a name, okay, and has an age. I'm just trying to show you why we want to use data class. That is the reason I wrote this class, okay? And give me a couple of seconds while I complete the line. All right, so we wrote all of that, and now let's run the class. Now, of course, you will see a nice, beautiful print statement, which is what I'm assuming, right? This is great. Now, as you can see, now if you want to compare objects, right? If I write one more, and if I say this as Nitin, whatever, and then if you want to compare p1 and p2, well, now you have to override the dunder's equal method. Oops, I think it's equal. I think I'm missing an indentation. So you got the idea, right? You have to keep implementing all these stuff, but data classes come with everything that you need. So for example, even the problem with these classes are you can add attributes at runtime, right? So for example, I can add a new attribute called hack, and then I can show you. Okay, I think I had to say p2, but it's fine. So as you can see, I was able to add any attributes at runtime also. Of course, now he will say, yeah, I can use slots to prevent adding attributes at runtime. But you have been adding so much code, right? It takes a lot of time. Well, Python already has all stuff to do that, right? So let me introduce you to data class now. So the same thing now with data class. So there's a library called data class. So from data class, we can say import data class. Now all you need to do is you can say class person, and then you can define your method. Hey, I have a name, I have an age, the age is integer, and now remember, you don't have to write these constructors and stuff. It does the job for you, right? So now by simply I can say, okay, p1, I'm not 22, by the way. so now when I try to print the object, p1, and let's run that. My computer is a bit slow because I'm actually also recording the video, so you gotta bear with me. So now you see we have a beautiful dunder str method that's already overloaded for a class. Well, that's pretty amazing to me. And now let me show some more things which will blow your mind. So for example, let's do this. Let's say if 56. So you can also now, say, hey, if you can also now do comparison on object. They have already implemented all these things for you. I mean, these all built-in stuff, they have already overloaded on their object. So you don't have to waste time writing those overloaded methods in a class. So this is some of the advantages of using data class. As you can see, false because they are not same, clearly. But if you had to do it by yourself, you had to overload the method. So I'm just showing you how amazing this data class is, right? For example, now let's take a step further. Now let's create an array of objects of data class. So I'm gonna say, all right, we have person, we have person. Before that, if you print an array, you know what it's gonna do, right? It's gonna print all the address in a not good way, right? So if I print this, the code is much more, organize, and all your so as you can see, person, object, name, you can do that. Now if you want, you can clearly, and I'm just going to show you, you can access the objects as well. So you'll say index 0, and then since it's an object, you can access the attributes here. As you can see, you can do that as well. Now let's go to the slides further and read a couple of things. It also supports default field. What I mean by that is, if you wanna, if you don't pass an age and if you wanna give a default, well, you could do that. And in your classes, you could simply, so instead of when you have a class and you have a lot of arguments, just create a data class and then pass the data class to the other classes, right? Like injection model, right? So you could also set default values as well. Now let's read a couple of more things. The main thing that I want to show is frozen and slots. So let me show you something called as frozen. I have a small demo here for you. All right. So let me remove this. Let me come here, and first of all, what I'm gonna do, okay, so I have these objects. So the easiest way I can show you is, let me remove that. Okay. I think this should be a good example for everyone to see what I was trying to say. Let's just call somewhere, maybe much better. So essentially I have a data class. Forget about this one, I have commented it out. Let me put this here. So this for example. Okay, so for example, as you can see, I'm essentially adding an attribute somewhere on that object, right, on the data class. So if I run this, I just want to show you what happens. I should be able to access that, right? And bear with me, please, because my computer is a bit slow. Just put hack. So as you can see, I am able to add attributes at runtime, right? But if you wanna prevent that, you can use slots as well, and I'll talk about slot a little bit. But let me set this flag as true, frozen. So now let's try that. There you can see. So there are so many parameters. It makes your life much more easy, right? So you could simply set frozen, and then that way it would help you to not add attributes at runtime. Well, if you want to serialize your objects, it's amazing because data class supports that as well. So let's remove frozen as true, and let me go to my slides and talk a bit about slots. In Python, every class can have an instance attribute. By default, Python uses a dictionary to store objects. Now, everyone knows that when we create objects in Python, they are stored in a dictionary. A dictionary consumes more memory when compared to tuple or a list, right? When you do a comparison, it takes much more memory, right? This is really helpful as it allows, but as I said, dictionary has an advantage because you can access objects in O of 1. So you have the speed, but not the space. But if you want space and not the speed, then you can use slots. Well, let me read a couple of things more, okay? This is really helpful as it allows you setting arbitrary new values at runtime. However, for small classes, for well-known attributes, it might be a bottleneck, and the dictionary is a waste of RAM. Python cannot just allocate static amount of memory to the object creation store at all the attributes. Therefore, it sucks a lot of RAM if you create all of these objects. I'm talking about thousands and millions. Still, there is a way to circumvent this issue. It involves usage of slots. In Python, not to use dict and only allocate space for a fixed set of attributes. Here is an example. Well, let me show you that. So by default, as I said, it stores the value in a dictionary, right? But with slots, you can prevent it also. There are a couple of things. So slot would prevent adding attributes at runtime. And now you're saying to Python that, hey Python, when you store the object, now when you store the arguments in your classes, store it as a tuple, not as a dictionary. And tuple is takes much more or less memory than. So if I did this again, you should be able to work, but now you cannot add attributes at runtime, and it would be much more memory efficient. As I said, still works fine. Let me see if I'm missing any points. These are the references that I have taken from Motiversity blogs and a couple of Stack Overflow posts. Couple of things as well. I think you can also serialize so if you want to serialize your objects, I think it's dot as, or was it as dict. So there is a method, if I remember this correctly and I did not forget it. So you can serialize the data classes as well. So if you want to create JSON objects, you could easily do that. I think that's the one. Yeah. So you could serialize your data classes into JSON as well, by using a method called sdict. There are a lot more things in data class. This is essentially a high-level overview on data classes, and you clearly see why you want to use data class, because it provides a built-in dunder str method, dunder equal to, and a lot more, right? And then you can simply set up default values. You can prevent adding attributes at runtime. But if you wanna get into much more details, my recommendation, and as I said, I keep reading stuff, right? So I was reading here on their official website. There's a lot more detail to just data class. What I gave you is essentially an overview. But if you want to learn more on data classes and want to get really, really deep, this should be the official Python documentation should help you. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Oh, by the way, data class also supports inheritance. But with that being said, if you want to get more into data class, come on, go to the website, read more, and try by yourself. As mentioned, keep smiling, keep programming, and I would see you guys in the upcoming next video. Thank you.